The Tesseract Index, Season 001. Index 001. 5 real places that feel like 1985. There are places in this world that feel misplaced in time. Structures built for forgotten governments. Machines designed to listen beyond the horizon. Cities abandoned almost overnight. Archives constructed to survive civilizations. They are real, but they do not feel entirely connected to the reality surrounding them. They resemble fragments of a future imagined decades ago, when technology was monumental, information was physical, and every machine seemed to conceal a larger purpose. These are 5 real places that feel like 1985. They have been ranked according to 5 measurements: architectural force, historical signal, environmental isolation, machine presence, and tesseract probability. Observe first, interpret second, display last. The index is now open. Number 5. Teufelsberg Listening Station, Berlin, Germany. Above the forests of western Berlin stands a cluster of enormous white radar domes. Their surfaces are torn and weathered. Their skeletal frames are exposed. When the wind passes through them, the structures appear to whisper. This is Teufelsberg. The name translates as Devil's Mountain, but the mountain is not entirely natural. It was formed from millions of cubic meters of rubble removed from Berlin after the Second World War. Beneath it remain the buried foundations of an unfinished Nazi military academy, an immense structure that proved too difficult to demolish. History was not removed, it was covered. During the Cold War, the elevated site became valuable for an entirely different reason. American and Allied intelligence forces constructed a listening station on the summit, using its antennas and radar domes to intercept military communications traveling through East Germany and the Soviet sphere. From this artificial mountain, operators listened for indications that another European war had begun. The technology is now silent. The listening rooms are empty. Graffiti covers the corridors. Torn fabric moves within the domes like the membrane of a damaged machine. Yet the architecture still appears attentive. Teufelsberg feels like a place built to collect information long after the people who understood that information have disappeared. In the world of 1985, it would not be abandoned. It would simply be waiting for a signal that has not yet arrived. J.O.A.N. Classification: historical signal, high. Machine presence, elevated. Tesseract probability, 78%. Number 4. Hashima Island, Nagasaki, Japan. From a distance, Hashima Island resembles a battleship made from concrete. A seawall surrounds an almost solid mass of apartment towers, industrial buildings, staircases, and narrow passageways. There are few trees. Almost every available surface was shaped by extraction, habitation, or defense against the sea. For decades, Hashima supported an undersea coal mine. Thousands of residents lived within one of the most densely constructed environments on Earth. Workers descended beneath the ocean. Families lived in tightly compressed concrete blocks. Schools, shops, and communal spaces were fitted into the island wherever space remained. It was less like a town than a self-contained industrial organism. Then the energy system changed. Petroleum replaced coal as Japan's dominant fuel source. The mine closed in 1974, and the residents departed. An entire vertical community was left behind. Rooms remained exposed to salt air. Windows disappeared. Roofs collapsed. Vegetation slowly emerged through concrete. Hashima now presents a compressed vision of what happens when a functioning system loses its central purpose. The buildings remain connected. The pathways remain. The machinery remains. Only the human circulation has stopped. It feels like a city from which the population received a message that was never transmitted to the outside world. In 1985, Hashima would be marked as a discontinued settlement. J.O.A.N. would continue detecting movement inside it. J.O.A.N. Classification. Environmental isolation, extreme. Architectural force, severe. Tesseract probability, 83%. Number 3. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. Far above the Arctic Circle, a narrow concrete entrance projects from the side of a frozen mountain. During the polar night, an illuminated installation above the entrance reflects blue and green light into the surrounding snow. There are no towers, no monumental facade, no visible city. Only a doorway leading into the mountain. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault was created as a secure backup for the agricultural diversity stored in gene banks around the world. Deep inside the rock, seeds from nations, climates, and cultures are preserved at low temperature. They are not primarily intended for everyday use. They are duplicates, biological copies stored in case the originals are lost through war, disaster, equipment failure, political instability, or environmental collapse. The vault has space for approximately 4.5 million different seed accessions. It is an archive of possible futures. Every box contains dormant instructions: how to produce wheat, how to recover rice, how to restore a plant that may no longer exist where it originated. The facility does not preserve finished food. It preserves the information required to begin again. That is what makes Svalbard feel so closely connected to 1985. It is both ancient and technological. Seeds created through thousands of years of human cultivation are catalogued, sealed, and placed inside an engineered Arctic chamber. Ancestral memory becomes stored data. Biology becomes archive. The mountain becomes a machine for transmitting life into a future it may never see. J.O.A.N. classification. Archive integrity, exceptional. Future survival value, critical. Tesseract probability, 87%. Number 2. The Duga radar array, Ukraine. Deep within the forest near Chernobyl stands a wall of steel nearly impossible to understand at human scale. Hundreds of antennas rise in repeating geometric patterns. From the ground, the structure appears endless. This is Duga. It was part of a Soviet over-the-horizon radar system designed to detect distant missile launches. Ordinary radar is limited by the curvature of the Earth. Duga attempted to look beyond that boundary by transmitting powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere and receiving what returned from far beyond the visible horizon. Beginning in the 1970s, shortwave radio operators around the world heard a rapid tapping interference moving across their frequencies. The sound was mechanical, repetitive, intrusive. It became known as the Russian woodpecker. For years, many listeners did not know exactly what produced it. The signal existed before the machine was widely understood. This reversal is essential to the DXM world. First the transmission, then the evidence, and only later the source. Duga was constructed to sense the opening moments of a possible nuclear attack. Its purpose was not simply to observe the present. It was designed to detect the future several minutes before that future arrived. After the Chernobyl disaster and the collapse of the Soviet Union, the array was left standing within a region already disconnected from ordinary human occupation. The antenna now rises above a forest, reclaiming roads, buildings, and military infrastructure. But unlike a ruined house, Duga does not appear dead. Its repetition implies continued calculation. Its enormous receiving surface still faces outward. It looks as though the system has remained active, listening beyond the horizon for an event no surviving operator remembers. J.O.A.N. classification. Machine presence, extreme. Signal distortion, extreme. Tesseract probability, 94%. The final location does not contain an enormous radar array. It does not preserve seeds. It does not occupy an abandoned island. It is a single structure placed on the summit of a mountain. yet it appears to combine architecture, ideology, transmission, and temporal displacement into one form. Number 1. Buzludzha Monument, Bulgaria. At an elevation of more than 1,400 meters in Bulgaria's central Balkan mountains stands a building that resembles a spacecraft constructed from concrete. A circular ceremonial hall rests beneath a low domed roof. Beside it rises a narrow tower more than 100 meters into the sky. The Buzludzha Memorial House opened in 1981. It was built as an ideological monument, commemorating events connected to the development of Bulgaria's socialist movement. Its form was intentionally overwhelming. Visitors approached across an exposed mountain landscape before entering a vast circular interior surrounded by mosaics, symbols, and monumental imagery. Architecture was being used as a transmission system. The building did not simply contain a political message. The building was the message. After the political system that created it collapsed, Buzludzha was abandoned. Water entered through the roof. Mosaics deteriorated. Metal disappeared. Snow accumulated inside the ceremonial chamber. The monument became separated from its original function, but not from its power. In its ruined state, Buzludzha became even more difficult to classify. It is not quite a government building, not quite a temple, not quite a machine. From the valley below, it resembles an object that arrived rather than something that was constructed. Fog frequently surrounds the peak, concealing the base while leaving the tower and circular roof suspended above the clouds. Inside, the concentric architecture directs attention toward a central point. Every corridor appears to lead toward activation. Every damaged mosaic feels like a fragment of a corrupted operating system. Buzludzha represents the central condition of 1985. A powerful structure remains after the disappearance of the worldview that created it. The machine survives its operators. The signal survives its language. The archive survives its civilization. Something was built to shape the future. The intended future never arrived. But the structure continues transmitting into the one that did. J.O.A.N. classification. Architectural force, maximum. Historical signal, maximum. Temporal displacement, unresolved. Tesseract probability, 99%. 5 locations, 5 systems separated from their original purpose. A listening station buried beneath layers of history. An industrial city emptied of its population. A biological archive prepared for global recovery. A machine built to see beyond the horizon. And the mountain monument transmitting the remains of an abandoned future. These places feel like of 1985 because they occupy more than one time simultaneously. They contain the ambition of the past, the deterioration of the present, and the outline of a future that never fully materialized. They remind us that technology is not only a collection of machines, it is the physical form of what a civilization believes will happen next. When that belief disappears, the architecture remains, waiting to be rediscovered, waiting to be reinterpreted, waiting for another system to assign it meaning. The TESSERACT Index has recorded 5 locations. J.O.A.N. detected a 6th. Its coordinates have been withheld. Observe first, interpret second, display last. Index 001 complete.